We'll be starting this morning in Shavasana on our backs. So letting the feet fall out towards the corners of your mat. Palms facing up a comfortable distance from the hips. And drop into the breath. Taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Just feeling the weight of your body as it settles and feeling the support of the ground, the earth supporting you. Falling into the rhythm of your breath. Feeling the breath all the way to the lower belly. Deepening the breath and slowing it down. Try to visualize that you have a balloon in your abdomen. So your entire abdomen is expanding and contracting with every breath. The lower belly, the ribs, the collarbones. Deep inhales and deep exhales. Now drop your awareness into your spine, into your spinal column. Imagine now that you're breathing in and out of your spine. So imagining the inhale going through the top of your head, all the way down to the tailbone, and then exhaling out through the top of the head. Bringing your awareness and spaciousness to your back body as you lie here against the floor. On your next inhale, take in the largest inhale that you can, taking in as much air as possible, and then hold the breath. So you're holding the breath in, holding the breath for as long as you can, and start to squeeze in small increments, little sips of air. So squeezing in a little bit more and still holding. A little bit more and still holding. And continuing to do that until you can't hold the breath any longer. And when you get to that point, open the mouth and let it all come rushing out with an audible sigh, just letting it all go. Surrendering and releasing anything that isn't serving you any longer. Deep inhales and deep exhales. And again, taking in the deepest breath that you can, inhaling as much air as you can, and hold the breath. Holding the breath in. Take in small sips of air, so squeezing in a little bit more and then holding. And a little bit more and then holding. Continuing until you can't hold any longer. And I want you to think about what you can let go of with this next exhale when you can't hold the breath any longer. Open the mouth and let it all come rushing out, letting it all go. Sighing it out, releasing and renewing. Deep inhales and deep exhales. And just go back to feeling the body and how it's supported by the earth, by the floor. Deep inhales and exhales. On your next inhale, you're going to raise the arms up overhead, stretch thoroughly from fingertips to toes, and then exhale, right knee to the chest. Hug it in, forehead towards the knee. Flowing with the breath, inhales, lengthening, reaching fingertips to toes. Alternate knees, left knee to the chest. Hug it in, forehead towards the knee. Flowing with the breath. Slowing it down and connecting the breath to your movement. Alternating knees on your exhales, reaching and stretching on your inhales. Taking everything nice and slow and gentle. And left knee to the chest, finishing with your left knee. You can begin to do both knees towards the armpits, letting the knees fall out to the sides. Hug them in, draw the forehead up in between, and reach and lengthen on the inhale, still flowing with the breath. Exhale, knees towards the armpits, raising the forehead up. Lengthening on the inhale. Knees towards the armpits, hugging it in. And just hold here, rock a little bit from side to side. Massaging the back and the sacrum. Let your feet come down to flat to the floor, as close to the buttocks as possible, palms facing down next to the hips. We're going to flow in and out of bridge posture. As you inhale, scoop the tailbone, lift the hips, lift the navel, lift the chest. And as you exhale, slowly lower down vertebra by vertebra, setting the hips back to the floor, pause. Inhale, scoop the tailbone, lift hips, lift navel, lift chest. Slowly rolling back down, flowing with your breath and connecting the movement. If you'd like to add the arms, you can raise the arms as you raise the hips, bringing them all the way up overhead and to the floor. And as you exhale, lowering the arms and the hips simultaneously, setting everything back to the floor. So if that feels good for you, you can add the arms. If that doesn't feel good for your shoulders or neck, then you can skip that. Always listen to your body in this practice, never straining, never pushing into pain. Soften the posture or skip the posture if it doesn't feel right for your body. And go ahead and take the knees into the chest again, rocking a little bit from side to side. Take your arms out to a T and drop those bent knees over to the left-hand side, coming into a gentle twist. Look out at the right hand. Maybe your left hand comes over the right knee, helping to anchor your knees, relax the legs, relax the feet, just softening into this gentle twist. Deep inhales and exhales. Try to notice how the earth supports you in this twist. Sinking into the floor, softening. Next, inhale, come back to center, and then exhale, knees over to the right-hand side. Looking out at the left hand, maybe your right hand comes across your left knee for anchoring. Deepen the breath and soften. Try to use the breath to soften anywhere that you're holding on to tension, anything that's working harder than it needs to work. And coming back to center. Hug the knees in, holding them in. And then we're going to flip right over onto hands and knees, coming into cat and cow posture. So we're going to flow in between cat and cow. Knees are below the hips, wrists are below the shoulders or slightly in front of the shoulders. If you have wrist issues, you can come on to fists or take a break anytime you need to. Inhale, lift the tailbone to the ceiling, drop the belly and look forward. Exhale, turn the tailbone down, round the back to the ceiling and look at the knees. Inhale, flip the tailbone up, drop the belly looking forward, cow posture. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, round the back, widen the back, look at the knees, cat posture. Flowing with your breath, really feel into your cat and cow. Waking up the spine. And coming back to neutral. We're going to do a little bit extra stuff on the knees today. So if you want your folded blanket for padding, you can draw that across the middle of your mat, folded neatly, or you can also fold the mat upon itself to double up the thickness if you don't have a blanket. So from here, we're going to take the right leg out behind us, reaching out through the heel, and then draw the navel and the ribs up, pressing away from the floor. Lift the heel, reaching out through the flat foot. Just holding it there. If you'd like to add the left arm, if you're not straining, you can add the left arm. Opposite foot, opposite arm, reaching out in front. And then come back down, hands and knees, both hands and knees, and a couple cat-cows. Connecting the movement to your breath. And back to center. Take the left leg out behind, reach out through the heel, flexing that foot, press away from the floor, lift the navel and the chest. Lifting the left foot a little bit higher, just a smidge, just enough to activate those posterior chain muscles. And if you'd like, you can add bringing out the right arm in front. So opposite foot, opposite arm. Nothing straining. Pressing away from the floor, deep breaths. And lowering back down, both hands and knees to the floor. And cat and cow. And back to neutral. We're going to take the right leg out to the side, bent at this 90-degree angle. We're just taking it right out to the side. I think some people call this fire hydrant posture. We're strengthening the outer hip. And then bring it back down, setting the knee to the floor, and raise it again. Right leg straight out to the side, bent at a 90-degree angle. Press away from the floor. And back to all fours. We'll take the left leg out to the side, bent at a 90-degree angle. Pressing it away from the floor. Keep the breath flowing, don't hold the breath. And bringing it back down. Remember, if your wrists are starting to get achy, you can come on to fists. Take that left leg out to the side, bent at a 90-degree angle. And breathe. And lower. All four knees and hands all to the floor, and a couple cat-cows. And back to center. Circle the hips as small or as large as feels good for you. Circling the hips, picking a direction. And make it enjoyable, not like you're just trying to get something done. Really try to feel into it, noticing any skips or jumps in the movement. And then reverse the direction. And back to center. Turn the toes under, sitting back towards the heels. Spread those fingers nice and wide, and maybe even turn them out a little bit towards the corners of your mat. Reaching back towards the heels, lift the hips, coming into half downward dog, bent knees on the toes. Pedal the feet. So reaching into one heel as you bend the opposite knee. Opening up the backs of the legs. Come up onto the tippy toes, bend the knees. Reach the hips up and back. Lengthen from the hands to the tailbone. Slowly lower the heels and straighten the legs only as much as you have comfort in the posture. Flip the tailbone up, reach the sits bones towards the wall behind you. Deep inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, sigh it out. Three times. Walk the feet forward to the front of your mat. Letting the feet be hips distance apart. Soften the knees as much as you need to. No stress as you bring your hands to either side of the feet. Come up halfway, flat back, hands against the legs. Nice long spine, parallel to the floor. Lengthen as you inhale from the tailbone through the crown. Press strongly into both feet. Exhale, soften forward, softening the knees as much as you need. Press strongly into both feet, reach out and up overhead, lengthen and look up, and bring your hands to the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. And come up halfway, flat back. Lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale your right foot back. Drop the knee, drop the hips, lift the chest. Pause and step into plank posture or modified plank with the knees down. And exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the floor. Slide onto the belly, tuck the elbows to the sides, and lift the chest. And press up and back into downward dog. Or if your wrists are starting to bother you, you can always take puppy posture, taking some of the intensity off the wrists. Or you can take child's posture. So you always have those additional variations to take. Next, inhale, right foot comes forward to the front of the mat. And if you get stuck, you can drop your left knee first and step the foot forward. You can also grab the ankle and draw it forward. Drop the knee, drop the hips, lift the chest. Exhale, left foot forward into a forward fold. Deepen the breath. Soften the knees. Pressing strongly into both feet, reach out and up overhead, lengthen as you look up. Hands to the heart. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, left foot back. Drop the knee, drop the hips, lift the chest. Pause the breath and step into plank posture. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the floor. Sliding forward onto the belly, tuck the elbows, lift the chest. And press up and back into downward dog, puppy, or child. Deep inhales and exhales. Next, inhale, left foot comes forward to the front of the mat. Dropping the knee, drop the hips, lift the chest. Exhale, right foot forward to the front of the mat. Pressing into both feet, reach out and up overhead, lengthen as you look up. And hands to the heart. Deep inhale and exhale. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, right foot back. Drop the knee, drop the hips, lift the chest. Plant the right hand into the floor or make a fist. Left arm up to the ceiling. Open up the chest. Looking up at the left hand. Think about stacking the shoulders. Left hand down, planting the left hand to the floor, right arm comes up, open out to the right hand side. Still sinking the hips forward and down. Think about stacking those shoulders. And right hand to the floor, stepping back into plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the floor. Slide forward onto the tummy, tuck the elbows, lift the chest. And press up and back into downward dog, puppy or child's posture. Always listen to your body, nothing painful, nothing sharp. So to lessen the intensity, you can bring the knees to the floor. Next, inhale, right foot forward. Drop the hips, lift the chest, looking forward. Plant the left hand, open the right arm to the ceiling, opening the chest out to the right. Sinking the hips forward and down. Deepen the breath. Right hand comes to the floor, planting the right hand or tenting the fingers, open the left arm to the ceiling. Stacking the shoulders, deepening the breath. Left arm back to the floor. Next exhale, left foot comes forward, forward fold. Pressing into both feet, reach out and up overhead, lengthen as you look up. And straight back down, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left foot back. Drop the knee, drop the hips, lift the chest. Plant the left hand again. Let's take the right arm straight up, but then try to wrap it behind the back if you can, if that's available to you. Think about opening the shoulder towards the ceiling as you look up. Find an arm variation that works for you if this is too much for your shoulder. Release the arm, right hand back to the floor. Stepping back into plank posture. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the floor. Slide forward onto the belly, tuck the elbows, lift the chest. Press back into downward dog. Deep breaths. Lengthen up through the spine. Flip the tailbone up, reach the sits bones back to the wall behind you. Stepping the left foot forward. Right hand is planted. Open up the left arm and wrap behind the back if you can. You might notice how different your shoulders are. One may be a little tighter than the other. So find the arm variation that works for you. If you need to extend, you can. Opening that armpit, that shoulder towards the ceiling. And release both hands to the front of your mat. Step into plank. And exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the floor. Slide forward onto the belly, tuck the elbows, lift the chest, and press back into a child's posture. Sitting back to the heels, nice wide knees. And deepen the breath. Feel the body sink into the floor. Feel the support of the floor. Slowly coming up onto all fours. Up and back into downward dog. And then walk the feet forward to the front of your mat. Forward fold. Again, letting the feet be hips distance apart, allowing room for your body to hang forward. Softening the knees as much as you need to. Press strongly into both feet, reach out and up overhead, lengthen as you look up. And hands to the heart. Deep inhales and exhales. Drop the hands to the sides, lengthening the breath. Letting the eyes close or soft gaze at the floor. Taking a moment to slow the breath down. Grounding. Connecting with the earth. And for balancing posture today, we're going to take the knee to the chest. So find a place if you have a little bit of challenge with your balance, you can find a place where you're able to touch the wall or a chair or something to support you. And you may or may not want to come off your mat. Sometimes that squishy is enough to offset your balance. So we're going to come on to the right foot and take the left knee to the chest, hug it in. Holding that left knee into the chest. Press away from the ground. Try to keep your pelvis parallel to the floor. So there might be a tendency to sag down into that left hip. Keep lifting up with the left hip. And if you're feeling very stable here, you can try letting go of the knee for a little added intensity. Stay here if you're struggling a little bit. Keep your breath nice and smooth. So if you have freedom of breath and you want to add a little bit more intensity, you can point the toe. So outstretching that left foot, that whole left leg in front of you. And if you start straining, tuck that knee back in, bringing the leg back in with a bent knee. Deep breaths, and then everybody grabbing the knee and hugging it back in. So you're feeling that nice long spine, resetting back to your core if you have overreached a little. And then release with as much control as possible. Switching sides. Shifting into the left side of your body. Take your right knee to your chest. Hug it in. And feel the length and strength of your spine. Pressing into the floor. Long spine. Make sure your shoulders aren't creeping up towards your ears. Tuck your tailbone, lift your navel, lift your chest. If you're feeling very stable here, you can add a little layer of work, so letting go. And if you're starting to sag down into that right hip, make sure you come back to your center of gravity, press into the floor, tuck the tailbone, lift the navel, lift the chest. And if you're feeling good here, you can point your toe. So extending the leg. And if that's too much for you, stay at the level that works for you. No holding the breath. No straining. Then tuck the knee in. And then taking the knee again, hugging the knee in, press into the floor, lengthen the whole spine. And then with as much control as possible, release. Shake it out, both legs, and come onto your back in Shavasana. Deep inhales and exhales. Feeling the body sink into the floor. Deepen the breath. You can grab your blanket and slide your rolled up blanket underneath the sacrum. Or if you have a wall or a couch or chair right near you, you can put your legs right up onto your couch, bending the knees over a couch or chair, or legs up the wall. But if you're in the middle of the room, you can roll up your blanket for support underneath the hips and stack the legs towards the ceiling. Stacking the legs, using as little effort as possible. Deepening the breath. Stacking the ankles over the knees, over the hips. Soften the belly. Soften the chest. Think about your stacked legs and the weight of your stacked legs. And then imagine that your thigh bone is sinking down into the pelvis, into the hip joint. So you're feeling the stacked legs sinking downward, sinking into the pelvis. Deep belly breaths, and let the eyes be closed. Let the legs come out into a V shape, trying to keep as little tension as possible in the abdomen, just using the muscles necessary to bring the legs out into a V shape. Breathe. And then slowly bringing them back together, up towards the ceiling. Breathe into that belly. Let the soles of the feet come together and bend the knees out into a diamond shape, making a diamond shape with the legs, soles of the feet together. Deep breaths into the lower belly. And extend the legs back up towards the ceiling. Bend the knees, bringing the feet to the floor. Remove the blanket from behind your hips. If you're propped up on anything, just take it out. Extend the legs. Bring the hands, palms facing down next to the hips, and we're going to inhale, bringing the right leg up towards the ceiling. Count to 6, nice and slow with control. Hold the breath for 2 or 3 counts. Exhale, lowering slowly, counting to 6, bringing the right leg back down. Left leg, inhale, counting to 6, bringing it up towards the ceiling. Pausing the breath. Exhale, lowering the left leg, counting to 5 or 6. Setting everything completely to the floor. Inhale and exhale. Right leg, inhaling, counting to 6. Pause the breath. Exhale, lowering back down. Trying to make this movement as fluid and controlled as possible. Inhale the left leg. Raising the left leg. Pausing at the top. Lowering back down. Deep inhale and exhale. And third time, inhale the right leg up. Pausing the breath. And lowering, exhaling back down. Left leg, inhale, lifting towards the ceiling. Pause the breath. Slowly lowering back down, counting to 6. And release the legs, shaking them out. Shavasana, 3 breaths. Come up onto the elbows, and then we're going to walk up onto the hands, walking the hands forward, coming to seated, and then we're going to bring our feet to either side of the mat, bent knees. We're going to come into a squat by pressing forward with the hands. If you have knee issues, this might not be possible for you, so you can come into a standing and take a modified squat, or coming into a squat from standing. Might be helpful. Don't do anything that feels sharp or painful in the knees. So start pressing the hips and the hands, walking the hands forward, coming into our squat. Bring the arms in between the legs, hands together at the heart, and press out with the elbows. So using the elbows inside of the knees to widen the squat. If your heels are not touching the floor, you can use a rolled up blanket to support the heels that are kind of floating. So that would look like this. Giving something for the heels to stabilize on so you don't feel like you're falling backwards. Take a break anytime that you need to. Think about dropping the tailbone to the floor, grounding the spine. So dropping the tailbone, lift the chest, press the shoulders back and down. See if you can feel the shoulder blades sliding towards each other and down the back. Lengthening up through the crown, the back of the head. Tuck the chin a little bit. Deep inhale and exhale. Take the hands to the front of your mat. Slowly straighten the legs and walk the feet in, coming into a forward fold. Feet hips distance apart.
soft knees. Press into the big toes and draw up the inner line of the legs. Widen through the sits bones, so widening the buttocks. Flip the tailbone up to the ceiling. Nice long spine. Nod the head yes, shake the head no. Come up halfway, flat back. Hands against the legs, long spine, parallel to the floor. Press into the big toe, mounds of the big toes, the balls of the feet. Draw up through the inner line of the legs. Flip the tailbone up and widen the sits bones. Feel the length in your spine. And exhale, fold forward again. Slowly sinking forward. Deep inhale and exhale. Press into both feet, reach out and up overhead, lengthen as you look up. Hands to the heart. Step the feet about 3.5 feet apart, 4 feet apart, finding a nice wide-legged stance. And make sure that your big toes, your feet are parallel at least to the sides of your mat. So you're on your mat for gripping. You don't want your big toes to be pointed outward. You want your big toes to be just slightly tucked, pointing inward so that your feet are parallel. Press into the seat, nice and strong. Tuck the tailbone, lift the navel, lift the chest. And then exhale, fold forward, bringing the hands towards the floor. So if you don't comfortably reach the floor, this is where a couple blocks could be super helpful, or some objects that are stable, anything that's stable in your home that you can use if you can't reach the floor comfortably. You can also tent your fingers to give yourself a couple more inches. And I want you to think about lengthening the spine like you do with a flat back. So finding the place if you need to come up higher, using those blocks. Nice long spine. Press into the feet. Flip the tailbone up to the ceiling, widen the sits bones, and lengthening the spine. So you're bringing yourself into this flat back, whether or not you're on blocks. You're coming into this flat back. Plant your left hand to the floor, bringing it to the center. You can either plant the palm, tent the fingers, or you might be on a block. And open the right arm to the ceiling, coming into another twist. Press into both feet strongly. Tuck the tailbone, lengthen the spine. Think about stacking the shoulders. You might even wrap that right arm around behind your back. As you look up to the ceiling or look out at the horizon. And then releasing the right hand down to the floor or the block, whichever you're using, and left arm comes to the ceiling. Press strongly into both feet. Try to keep the pressure equal in both feet. Lengthening the spine as you inhale. You might tuck that arm around your lower back, behind your lower back. Thinking about opening the left shoulder to the ceiling. And then release both hands back to the floor. Soften forward. So if you are feeling any strain, you can try bringing your hands to your legs for support and doing a flat back. You can bring your hands to your hips with a flat back. So I encourage you to listen to your body. Only sinking forward as long as you're not feeling pulling in the lower back. And bring your hands behind you, clasp the fingers, extend the arms, and let the arms fall away from your back. And then reaching up and back with those clasped hands, coming back to upright. Slowly walk the feet, heels to toes, coming back to center. And coming down onto your back again, lying in Shavasana. Deep inhales and deep exhales. Bend the knees into the chest. Grab the feet, reaching in between your knees. Grab a hold of shins, ankles, outer blades of feet, whatever you can reach. Happy baby. Letting the knees fall out towards the sides. Soles of the feet towards the ceiling. Just letting those thighs sink down towards the floor. Letting the knees fall out away from the body. Relax the shoulders, relax the neck. Relax the back into the floor. Every exhale softening. If you want to move your feet around, just kind of rocking from side to side or making circles with your feet. Massage your back. Moving however your body wants you to move. And bring the soles of the feet together, keeping the heels as close to the buttocks as possible. Let the feet come to the floor. Soles of the feet together, feet as close to the buttocks as possible. Opening your knees out to the side, recline bound angle, and deepen the breath. Palms facing up a comfortable distance from the hips. Nice deep breath. And roll over onto one side or the other, coming into a fetal position. Deep inhale and exhale. And then you'll slowly make your way up to a comfortable seat. So that may be sitting on your blanket. We're going to do the loving kindness prayer, the loving kindness meditation. So you'll just repeat each line after me. It's okay if you don't have the printed out sheet. So closing the eyes, nice long spine, deep inhale and a deep exhale. Soften the shoulders. Bringing this feeling of compassion and loving kindness into your heart. Repeat after me. I am at peace. I am free from fear and suffering. My heart remains open. I realize the beauty of my own true nature. I am healthy. I am a source of healing for this world. I'm closing the eyes and feeling that sensation in the heart center, anahata, the heart, compassion, loving kindness for yourself. And then shifting that loving kindness to choosing somebody who you want to send extra energy, extra love. And repeat after me. As you send this out to that person, may you be at peace. May you be free from fear and suffering. May your heart remain open. May you realize the beauty of your own true nature. May you be healthy. May you be a source of healing for this world. Deep inhale and exhale, feeling the sensation of loving kindness and compassion that you're fostering in your heart. And we're getting ready to send all of that out to all beings. Repeat after me. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be free from fear and suffering. May their hearts remain open. May all beings realize the beauty of their own true nature. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be a source of healing for this world. And bring the hands together at the heart. Deep inhale and exhale. Soften the face and slowly open the eyes. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace peace peace.